What? No way.
We won't go
Go
Huh?
tomorrow.
33 fights.
33 fights tomorrow.
32.
Hello everybody, this is Stephen Howson. This is the Stephen Howson podcast. Tonight I am joined by Jim. As you can see, we are sat cage side. We're in Bulgaria. We're at the European 2017 Amateur Open. 151 competitors, 28 different countries. We've seen 9 fights already today. There's 33 fights tomorrow. Probably the same again on Friday.
And
then
one crazy ass hotel.
Yeah, one crazy ass hotel. If I had to tell you who designed this hotel, the only way you're going to get it is if I said the Japanese Yakuza wanted a Las Vegas hotel in Eastern Europe. That is the only way that's going to make sense to you, because that's exactly what it is, isn't it?
It's pretty much like a Las Vegas hotel in the most random street ever in Bulgaria.
Yeah, and it's a 5-star hotel, and it's a legit 5-star hotel as well. But my room's a solid, probably 2.5 star, I reckon.
Yeah, my bed can fit about 10.
Yeah,
10
it's a
people.
big one. Just
So
going to get the
myself
comments on and see what you guys are saying. Brad McNamee says sick. Adam says hello, buddy. So yeah, this is a bit of an MMA special. I'm expecting, I don't know, about 15 people to watch this compared to the normal ones where we talk utter shit about football. It's a different time. It's a different time zone.
We can
it's
talk
all sorts
football,
of different
though.
stuff. We will talk football because
we can
Jim's a
talk
United
football.
fan as well. So actually, we've dipped in big time there as well because we can talk some other shit. Hopefully, this is all syncing up and working for everybody, because I'm doing it from my phone on a tripod, obviously, sat just in front of the cage. So we've seen some pretty good fights today.
Yep.
No one's massively blown me away. But the big story of the day, I think I would say, is that Mexico got its first amateur IMAF winner inside the cage. First competitor and first win inside the cage. And it was a good fight. And national stereotypes aside, we thought he was going to come in with good boxes and all that lot, but it wasn't really the case, was it?
Took it straight down to the mat. No, it was a good submission. But, I mean, there's so many different countries represented here. And just because it's the European Championships doesn't mean it's just European countries.
No, we've got Mexico, Kazakhstan.
It's what's called an open championship. So that means any country can enter, but obviously mostly it's going to be European because it's going to be staged in
thought
Europe.
the flags actually represented what we had, but it doesn't because it's an American one.
No, I mean, they double up all over the place. But we got people like Kazakhstan, like you were saying, Mexico are
Lebanon. South Africa here, I think.
Bahrain, it's crazy.
Bahrain, yeah, so it's
Bahrain,
interesting.
Bahrain.
I'm interested to see the different levels, and I've been interested to see what the level of amateur MMA is. 'Cause a lot of you guys know, I had one amateur MMA fight. I'd get fucking smoked with the level that these guys are showing us at the moment. Really impressed with the high level of technical ability, high level of cardio. 3-5s they're doing. Amateurs used to be 3-3s or 1 round or 2 rounds occasionally. They're doing 3-5s. They're doing pro level rounds.
Yeah, no, they are. And I mean, it's good to see, because I'm a journalist in MMA. I cover a lot of UFC events, go to some of the biggest shows in the world. So it's a really good contrast, kind of seeing the guys and what level they're kind of at. And I would say that, compare it to some other amateur fights I've seen, obviously it's good. It's good.
I think IMAF's doing a fucking great thing they're going to Singapore for the Worlds later in this year.
Yep.
They had an open championship in Vegas. This is legit shit. This is, as someone who's been a fan of MMA for a little over a decade, about 2006 I started watching MMA. And I'm talking BJ Penn and GSP and those sort of guys was what I sort of grew up watching in MMA. And then you go back to the beginning, don't you? You watch UFC 1 and then you sort of cherry pick the best events in between, and you arrive at today with such a well-rounded, well-oiled, slick machine in what is the UFC, but also some of the other organisations. 10 years ago, a world championships on this level with this magnitude and this sort of fucking spread out here.
I mean, there were quite a few people here today. It's free to enter, so like anyone in the public can come down and have a look. I'm expecting it to be a lot busier at the weekends. That's when obviously no one's at work. But we kind of relate this to football. I guess this is the equivalent of what, the under-21s Euros, you would say?
Yeah, because it is a lot of younger lads.
There's
a lot of
younger lads, aren't
they? Brad in the comments there saying, is it as technical as the UFC or is it biting ears? It's not as technical as the UFC. No, it's a long way off. It's amateur for a reason. You would expect the best of these guys to then maybe go and get a dozen fights on a local sort of scene, maybe work their way up through BAMA, UC MMA, UK guys this is, and maybe end up Cage Warriors or something like that, and then possibly come into the UFC on an undercard, and then you work your way. Even Conor McGregor, as a 2-weight world champion in Cage Warriors, he worked his way up from being on the prelims. I think the first one was at Boston. He fought on a Boston card.
No, it was actually Stockholm. He fought in Stockholm.
Was that Brimage?
Yeah, it was Brimage fight. Yeah.
Knocks the living fuck out of Brimage. Gets himself a more exciting fight. Gets himself moved up the rankings because he's going there and he's putting people away.
Mm-hmm.
And then becomes the 2-weight world champion in the UFC. And then fucks off to go make movies, do boxing, and whatever the hell he wants, in all honesty.
Yeah, basically. Or fighting Floyd Mayweather. So we should probably talk about that before the comments start coming in about it.
Yeah, I mean, we have spoken about this in the comments. Several podcasts, me and Ben.
I'm sure you have.
It comes up regular. And I think Mayweather's going to beat him 99 times out of 100. But anytime you get into a cage, into a ring with someone else that's an elite striker like Conor is, all right, he's not on the same level of boxing. 99 times out of 100, Mayweather puts him away. But there's that one chance that he touches him with that left-handed
death. 100%. I mean, like we were talking about it a bit last night, but Conor's going to come in there with like a stance and kind of way that he strikes that Floyd Mayweather will never have seen before. However, the beauty of Floyd Mayweather is the fact that he is so adaptable. He changes on a whim just based on what his opponents do. I can see him after 2-3 rounds working it out pretty damn quickly.
We said this earlier,
it might not even take a round. It might not even take a round. He'll probably see him for the first minute or so and then be like, okay.
I think the stance is going to throw him off.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, easily. I've seen Conor, all of Conor's fights in the UFC live, and every single time he gets tagged. He's got a good chin, but he gets tagged. And
do you think there'd be a difference in getting tagged in 4-ounce gloves by MMA fighters versus someone with the level of boxing that Floyd's got? Because Floyd's not a power puncher; he's a pity-pat puncher.
Yeah, no, he's a
volume
pity-pat puncher, but he's a boxer, man. He's a boxer.
It's a bigger glove,
and it's a bigger glove. But you also talk to any of the guys that say that they spar with like professional boxers. There's a real fucking difference between being hit by Floyd Mayweather, who's a pitter-patter boxer, than, you know, let's say, I don't know, a jiu-jitsu specialist who's just got shocking striking. I mean, and like Conor's faced a few of them. So, you know, I think there's going to be a real difference. And what can I say? Like, I started off so against wanting to see this fight happen, but now I'm at the point where I just think, fuck it, let's just do it.
I think it's going to happen.
It's going to be $1 billion fight. It's going to be fucking entertaining the whole build-up.
I'm against it, but it's almost like trying to stop a freight train. It's coming, and there's nothing you're going to do to stop it. Bitching about it's not going to help. Might as well jump on board and enjoy the fucking ride, aren't we?
And who can blame him? Like, he's going to get paid buck for this.
He's probably going to get paid the equivalent of 6 or 7 fights in the UFC.
He would never have to work ever again.
No, it probably doesn't right now, in all honesty.
Actually, he probably would have to work again just because of the way he spends it. But let's say if he's like Billy Joe average, he could probably pay for his next 50 family members' life. But
next weekend's main event, we just had one of the comments. DC and Rumble. Two of my favourite fighters. Two of the nicest guys in MMA. It's a shame that they have to face off. It's like having two of your kids go at it and you're like...
let's face it though, like Rumble Johnson's a pretty one-dimensional fighter. He's a power puncher. He threw his best shot at DC. DC, well, literally, as I would say, bounced off the canvas and bounced back up. He took his best shot already. So where's the... I failed to see the intrigue in the fight.
Well, I think he lands that shot again, and I think it probably goes slightly different next time around. That being said, I'm interested to see if DC can take it past those early rounds. I'm interested to see if Rumble can touch him up in that first round. Because let's face it, outside of the second round, lump everything you've got, sell your car, sell a kidney, and stick it on DC grinding a decision out, because that's how it's going to go down if it goes past the
choked him out
second.
last time. He actually finished the fight, which isn't really, very much like Daniel Cormier these days. I mean, like, again, it's...
if Conor wins, the world will fucking explode. Can you imagine? Let's just play the hypothetical here, because like we said, it's a 1 in 100 shot, at least 1 in 100 shot that he buries him.
Probably
but
less.
Floyd Mayweather, boxing's undisputed greatest of all time, gets knocked on his ass by a gobby Irish dude from MMA. The whole boxing world will cry and cry foul and flip out, and the whole MMA world will carry it like a fucking staff to ram at fucking boxing every 5 seconds of the day. And yes, the world will fucking explode. The amount of backtracking journalists that there's going to be will be entertainment alone.
I'll never backtrack. I think Floyd's going to win. I think Floyd's going to win handily. I'd bloody love it though.
But
If
you're
Conor
not a
wins.
boxing journalist. That's probably
Yeah,
derising
for sure.
it. Johnny in the comments there, do I think McGregor's extra reach and size is a factor?
Yeah,
I think it's
no,
a little
it
bit of a
is for
factor, but
sure.
you've seen Mayweather deal with Canelo, and I
Yeah.
didn't think he was going to deal with Canelo. So
Canelo's like McGregor but thicker and probably hits a lot
and
harder.
he's a
with
seriously
cleaner technique.
experienced boxer. Is it a green screen or is it a real ring? Look,
It's a real ring.
yeah, it's a real ring. Look.
What did we say? How many video likes has this got to get?
Yo, if
before-
we get 1,000 likes, me and Jim will get in there and roll.
Yeah.
And
Please
we'll
no.
see if we can.
Please no.
I'll put him away in 38 seconds.
Like Stephen,
I'm a chubby McGregor. I think it's probably a lot more than a chubby McGregor.
a chubby McGregor.
Yeah,
Nah,
I'm not a
come
left-hander
on.
either, man.
No.
McGregor only fights midgets. Well, that's not necessarily
That's not
true.
necessarily
No, that
true.
isn't true. I mean, was Diaz tall? Diaz is a lot
Diaz
taller than
was
him.
200 pounds. Did
Yeah.
you not hear about this?
Yeah.
No. Okay.
Diaz is
But I
tall.
mean, like, let's look. McGregor's got a pair of bollocks off him. He's not only a world-class fighter, but he's got a pair of bollocks. Like, no, he didn't have to take that second Diaz fight.
No, he took it to avenge it, and fair
Yeah.
fucks to him. There was bigger fights possibly out there, I think. It didn't intrigue me at all when it got first matched up. It didn't really intrigue me when it got second matched up.
Mate, I don't know what planet you were living on. I don't know
No,
what
it
planet
just
you were
didn't.
living on.
The Alvarez one was more intriguing. After what Alvarez did with RDA, I was like,
Yeah.
oh shit. And then McGregor just touched him up, and you just didn't see it happening. That's why I think it's a very, very slim outside chance. Put it this way, I'm going to put 50 quid on McGregor winning. Because why not?
Why not?
Because why
not? It'll
fucking
be
not,
fucking red panty night if we win it. We can go down happy and maybe get a few hookers. But
If McGregor does win, says LGH, it hurts boxing hard. The UFC might have fucking allowed him to do this and had a real serious chat like, do you think you can actually fucking win this? I mean, as crazy as it seems. Let's look at some of the factors at play, right? Mayweather's old. Mayweather
40
fights
years
once
old.
a
40
year.
years old, fat.
So unless he's getting HGH, and he probably is, let's face it, there's going to be, at some point, a slowdown. Now, that slowdown might just coincide with the trajectory of him fighting against someone as unorthodox and weird as McGregor. And like I said at lunch earlier, didn't I would love it, because I just like fucking craziness. I would love it if 2-3 rounds in, Mayweather's on top, McGregor just fucking head kick KOs him and walks off. He's like, this fucking sport sucks. Out of there.
Well, I mean,
It's a McGregor thing to
make
do, though.
headlines. It would never happen. But hey, fuck it. I don't know. I just want to see this fight. I think from what I hear, it's going to happen in September in Las Vegas. So book your plane tickets out there. It's going to be September or January. So.
Harrison says, what's your favourite fight at the tournament so far? The English lad...
Alex Elsey.
Elsey's fight.
Elsey, it's
Elsey's
on my
vlogging
Facebook.
as well.
It's on my
actually.
Facebook,
Elsey's
right?
vlogging, so check him out
Yeah.
on YouTube. Alex Elsey, Elsey.
SEY.
So he's been vlogging about it. I haven't seen it. He posted one earlier, but I reckon that's probably worth...
And
check
also,
out.
like, if you want to see us fight, you can find that on my Facebook, Jim Edwards MMA. Watch that after. It's a great 3-round fight. Won't spoil it for you, but it's bloody even, and it gets finished in like the last minute or so. So, it's well worth tracking down.
Too Short Tino says, I have to say I know fuck all about boxing or MMA, but I'll be down the boozer for McGregor Mayweather fight. These
Yeah,
events
see,
only
that's
come around.
it. So that's
Yeah.
it, right? That's exactly why this fight's got to happen, because it'll
sure it
just
will
make MMA bigger. It'll give boxing's been shit for a long time. Apart from the UK scene, which had a bit of a resurgence, like in the last few years, boxing's been fucking boring. And this is going to bring so many more people
True
into
story.
it.
It has been boring. And we was talking about this today. Actually, the UFC at the moment is going through a little bit of a slump.
Oh,
They
mate.
massively peaked with the sale. Ronda was at a peak. They had Conor at his peak. They had Brock Lesnar temporarily back in the mixer. They had
Yep.
the CM Punk shenanigans, but they still had all that interest at
Yeah.
least. They had all of that. They cashed out, and then it's just gone fucking
It's
kaboom.
tanked, absolutely tanked. I mean, like, we see the numbers. We own a mixed martial arts website, and we look at the numbers as to what's happened recently, and it's just falling off a cliff. Fact.
Facts, yeah. It's.
Facts.
I would love to be in a position like. I hate how football takes everything out of how many hours I do, and I'd love to be able to unplug like I've done this week and go and really focus on some MMA. And that's not to say I don't love following United. I do, but some of the work alongside it is fucking extremely long hours, and I do really fucking enjoy coming and checking this out. I mean, this is as pure as it gets.
It's been great, man. Like we only saw 9 fights today, but tomorrow we're going to see 33.
33 fights.
33.
I mean,
But
if you speak to me tomorrow, it is going to be
overkill.
overkill. If you speak to me tomorrow, then first 5, I'll be like...
Yeah, 9 a.m. So tomorrow we're going to start at 9 a.m. in the morning, and goodness,
finish
I
at 6,
have
7
no
at night,
idea
at
when
least
we're
6 or
gonna
7
finish,
at
mate.
night, I think.
I will say it's not going to be UFC pacing, so we won't have like 30 minutes of ad breaks in between fights. They get them out, they get them in and out pretty quick.
No, but if you're fighting tomorrow and you'll somehow happen to be watching this podcast, please finish early. Let's get loads of finishes. Please finish early.
I would love to have a few beers tomorrow night, a nice bit of dinner. So please just finish your fight early. If you do, we might buy you a beer. But actually, no, because you'll still be in the tournament, so technically we can't.
Yeah, I can buy you one and you can like put it in your fridge and keep it watching.
Give it to me.
Orange Ape a little bit earlier. Orange Ape, shout out to Orange Ape, makes all the thumbnails for these, including Jim on this one as well.
That was a very good one actually. Like you made me a fat referee. It's probably going to be me. It's probably going to be me when I'm like 60, right? Maybe that is it. Maybe that's my job.
He said people are downplaying the importance of the bigger gloves. I think they're downplaying the importance of the bigger gloves on Conor defensively, because defensively he's going to have a lot more to work with.
Yeah,
he is fairly elusive, but he does get hit, and that's mostly down to how low he keeps his hands. He's not going to keep his hands low against Mayweather because there's no need to.
I just love to see his stance, right? Because his stance is really low. It's I think he fights southpaw, hands down. So basically, he sets himself up, threatens with the kicks as well, but obviously like in boxing you're not allowed to kick. So what stance is he still going to use the same MMA stance that he comes with?
Yeah, I don't think so.
He can't do.
He can't do. But what's going to be interesting is how many kicks do you think he's going to feint?
Mate, that'd be so funny.
He's going to feint
just
loads
like
of
feints
kicks.
elbows and like kicks, that would be weird shit, but it'd be great. Are you allowed to do that? I don't even know. Are you actually allowed to feint kicks in boxing?
I don't understand why you wouldn't be able to, but there might be some sort of sports.
There might be some sort of like sportsmanship.
Low key fucking.
Or you're not allowed to lift your. I don't know. It's a good question though, right?
Does anyone know in the comments?
Yeah, someone find that out. Someone Google that now and tell us. Are you allowed to feint kicks in boxing fights?
Most gutted moment you've ever felt as a UFC fan? John, I'll ask you while I fucking stall for time and
gutted. Well, I mean, okay. So here's a great one. UFC 200. I'm there as press. We're in Las Vegas. Funnily enough, I'm sitting in Hooters about 8. You know, it's quite late at night actually in Las Vegas. We're all sitting there. It's quite late at night. We've had about a good amount of beers each. And then suddenly we start getting the news through on Twitter. We start getting emails from the UFC. No. UFC 200. John Jones has been busted for drugs. And they tell us press, to come back to the MGM Grand, which was across the road, for a press conference. I was pretty cut at that point. There's a video of me online trying to stumble my way through an explanation. But I've never been so gutted. It was like what?
Anytime Khabib pulls out, I'm pretty gutted, but it doesn't wreck my day. I'm trying to think.
But again, like that was me a few weeks ago. I'm there again in Vegas. Another massive fight I'm really looking forward to. Called off 48 hours before the fight.
Khabib though.
Killed me.
We are in the danger zone for next week's fight with DC, because you know what they're like at AK. They're probably doing fucking 3-a-days. He's probably having a fucking Iron Man in the wrestling room, just cause like a week and a half out from his fight.
Yeah.
On a serious note, they will actually probably be fucking hammering him to death now, today, tomorrow, and then he'll probably fly out Friday to be there Saturday, do a couple more days of pads and shit, and then.
Orange App, I've got to respond to this because he said about Anderson Silva losing being the most depressing moment of all time.
Shocking.
Yeah, it was. So the first one, I had every single fight on my accumulator.
Anderson breaks his leg.
Anderson, and I'm sitting. No. This was when he got knocked out. This is when he was clowning around.
Of course, yeah. It was his
I'm sitting there, literally thinking like, this guy, hasn't been beaten. This is bank. I'm going to be rolling it. It was a few £1,000s at the time, which was, a good bit of money, off a tenner. And I'm sitting there already counting my money, and then he clowns around and gets himself knocked out. I've never been so depressed.
I've not really lost much money betting, actually.
I never bet that much, though. But it's always on, accumulators, so, I could potentially win a lot of money, but it's, it's always a long shot, and it's normally done after, 2 fights. So.
I actually believed Dan Hardy was going to beat GSP. I was a bit gutted about that, actually. I bought him deep.
Here's a good question. Could Dan Hardy versus GSP happen now because GSP, right? He's fighting a middleweight. He's fighting Michael Bisping for the middleweight title, but he has
Hardy's
said
talking about going to
I
155 though.
Yeah, exactly. But GSP said I'm good to go at 155.
No
he
way
says I can fight 155, 170, and 185, which is fucking nuts.
Yeah,
But
and
he's
I
saying-
can as well.
Yeah, I could probably. No, I don't know. I reckon I could.
I could lose
fight-
£100.
I reckon I could fight a bantam, feather, and lightweight. Easy. Bantamweight, I'd fucking look like a skeleton.
I can't even get to fucking light heavy. I'm firm in the fucking heavyweight at the
So
moment.
that's how competitive this fucking rolling match is going to be in a minute. If we get 1,000 likes.
1,000 likes, me and Jim will jump.
Dan
jump
Hardy
in.
versus Matt Hughes, mate, no way. Matt Hughes is a fucking tank these days.
But he's been fucking glassing up a rematch, a comeback as well, hasn't he? of
Yeah,
late?
it's like to be honest, that was one of those ones where there's so much shit going on. Like, I noticed that headline somewhere I ain't giving that a click. I thought it had to be fake, but anyway.
Cody Garbrandt versus Conor. What do you think? Now, this is another fighter that we spoke
Great
about
fight.
earlier as well. Cody Garbrandt might be the guy that the UFC needs to put all their eggs onto. I think that there's a very real chance that Cody Garbrandt is going to be the new UFC superstar, the one that they really put their eggs into. I mean, who else is there? You've got John Jones back in July. Are we expecting an announcement on him pretty soon?
He'll be back in July, yeah, for sure. But
So he's got to be in camp
well, no,
nowish.
there'll be nothing. Maybe he'll be at that. I hope. If they're
This week?
semi-intelligent, they're semi-intelligent.
You have
they'll
him
bring in
cage side
some
next
decent-
weekend.
they don't.
Oh,
They're fucking idiots.
fucking writes itself, this shit.
I know.
Does John Jones get an immediate title shot?
Yes, he
Fuck
fucking
yeah.
does.
Of course he does.
Of course he does.
Possibly the
If he
greatest
doesn't,
of
it's
all
fucking
time,
nonsense.
yeah. I mean,
He's the greatest fighter in the world.
And the UFC's hurting for numbers, so they've thrown him over.
So that was
Conor
Aaron.
says you can feint in boxing, kicks, etc. There you
Yes,
go.
there
Now,
you go.
Conor McGregor,
Oh, shit.
Conor McGregor's
That would
going
be
to talk
fucking epic,
all
wouldn't it?
sorts of maca. I mean, the shit talking he's going to throw at Floyd is going to be fucking hilarious.
There's Johnny as well, also confirming it as well.
They say it's pointless or no reason to rule against it. Yeah, he's going to lift off that front
Oh
leg
my
so
god,
many
it'd be so fucking funny.
times.
If he like feints like the hit, like spinning hook kick, that'd be amazing. But
Brad saying Nate Diaz is the biggest name without Conor. I completely disagree on that. I think there's a lot more bigger names. I think
ooh,
Verdun's a bigger name.
I don't know.
Dos Santos is a bigger name.
No way. Are we talking about mainstream media? Diaz got so much fucking attention after he beat Conor. Like, trust me, he did. He did.
I still see him under his
100%.
brother though.
Nick's nowhere near. Like Nate is legitimately the biggest, like second biggest thing.
That's madness to me.
So here's the question. Here's a good question. I want everyone in the comments to like talk about this as well. So,
Share it as well, you fucks. There's only 100 of you here. I know it's an MMA special, which I thought might put. But usually we can get up to 1,000 on these. So, like, I want more than that. Let's get up to about 300.
So here's the question: who is going to be the next UK UFC champion?
Just coincidentally wrote an article on this one, haven't you?
Yeah.
Right, yeah, let's see what you motherfuckers think. Because I know who he thinks. And I probably agree. If you'd have asked me this a year ago, I wouldn't have said Bisping. In fact, I didn't
No,
say Bisping.
I
I'm
never would
sure,
have said Bisping when it's
I'm sure we had something out like this where we fucking did the 10 fucking fighters likely to get a what's it, and Bisping wasn't in it.
Yeah, exactly. Like it was nowhere near. It was. Look, Michael Bisping's a fantastic fighter. He's had a great career. He was nowhere near a title shot when he got one. It was just luck. It was
fit
luck
and he was
that
available,
got it.
yeah.
It was luck. And let's face it, Luke Rockhold smoked him the first time. Was a bit lackadaisical the second time and got caught. It happens.
Too Short Tino in the comments says, where can I watch live MMA fights in the UK? Love watching any live sport, and it could be a decent night out. Whereabouts?
My Facebook page.
Yeah, check Jim's Facebook page out.
For this week, anyway.
If you follow MMA Latest, we cover every fight in every
Yep.
half decent show in the UK. You've got Bamator, fuck me.
Bamator, we can't
You've
even
got-
say Bellator.
You've got
anymore.
Bama and Bellator. You've got Tanko and ACB.
Mm-hmm.
You've got quite a lot of good shows. So we've had one there. Orange Ape, Mark Casey.
That's it so
That's
far.
it so far, basically. Yeah, I thought we had more comments than that. Opinions on Lawler versus McDonald. It wasn't overrated. I thought it was a great
Mate,
fight.
that was
no,
the
it
best fight I've ever seen in person.
Oh, it
I
was
sat there cage side. It was like one of those ones. Twice.
I was tired watching it. That nose break at the end was sickening, though.
Twice I've done this, right? Twice I've been sitting cage side watching the fight. I've actually stopped writing just to think, wow. I like screw trying to write about this. I just want to watch it.
Sometimes the most technical fights aren't the best, and sometimes the least technical
That's
fights
just
can
nuts,
be.
though.
And if you look at 2005 and you look at The Ultimate Fighter, and you look at Griffin and Bonner, and that was not a technical fight, but that was heart on display, and sometimes that passion comes through, and that makes a real fucking good fight and a good story.
The whole fight was great. Like, obviously, Robbie started out dominating him, just pasting him with the jab and just tagging him up. And then Rory seemed to find like the cheat code for a bit, didn't he? Like, you're just like fucking button mashing the right head kick, right?
Yeah. Okay, so we've only had a couple. There's one, Jamie Siders with a different angle coming in. Arnold Allen, we've had a couple shouts for Dia Casey.
Yeah.
So I got to agree. For me, Dia Casey at the moment looks like the most well-rounded, most exciting one in there. However, he's also in the fucking jungle. He is also in... If a UK heavyweight came through, then you'd have someone with an opportunity, because the heavyweight division's thin, as ironic as that is.
Yeah. No, I mean, like you're saying, Dia Casey's probably the most talented fighter we got coming up through the ranks, and I don't disagree that for 1 second. Arnold Allen needs a shout out though. Dia Casey is the most talented, but he's fucking playing with the sharks. Like, you look at that lightweight division, there's absolute killers all in the top 15. Some people aren't even in the top 15.
But then you see someone like Conor come in and just fucking obliterates the lot.
I know for a fact that Dia Casey is he is recognised by the UFC as one of the guys they need to get behind. Him, Francis Ngannou, Jermaine Demandamy. There's a few of them that are just nicely being positioned. Like
Dia
Cody
Casey would be a
Garbrandt,
great fucking ambassador for the sport in the UK as well, I think.
from the Congo,
Speaks
fucking worked
well,
for everything. He's the fucking nicest dude outside the cage. Like, the nicest guy. Yeah, he just murks people.
Someone asking about Paddy the Baddy.
Paddy the Baddy. I got a lot of opinions on Paddy. I think he's an absolute legend. I think the guy gets so much shit, and he's confident, he's cocky, he's brash, but give him a reason not to be. The kid, slight controversy in his last fight. I scored it 3-2 for Paddy. So.
Someone in the comments there, I can't read the name. Sir Shixjo, sorry, I've butchered that. What about Jimmy Manuwa? He's looking scary. I think he's got 3-4 people at least in his way that he's not as good as, and I think that's Gustafsson, DC, Jones, and Rumble.
What about now? Like, he got beaten by Gus and he got beaten by Anthony Johnson, right? Anthony Johnson, he took on super late notice.
Yep.
Gus, he probably wasn't ready for that fight. So he's only lost to 2 people in his whole career. So surely...
I just think he's a step under them. It's almost like a Ricky Hatton syndrome, where he's better than everybody else but them 2. Yeah. I think in Manuwa's division, he's better than everybody else-ish, but the 4 that are ahead of him, it's like Gustafsson. Gustafsson's probably never going to be as good as DC or Jones, and that's just unfortunate for him, and I think he could have a real series of good fights.
Brad.
MVP.
No. I want to go to Brad.
Joanne Calderwood
raises a fucking great point here. If they create a flyweight division, then suddenly the super thin strawweight division gets separated
even
out.
Thinner.
And then you got a whole new belt to play for.
Joanne Calderwood
that's
could
not
go
the
for
worst shout in the world. It wasn't even one person I considered when I wrote the article last week.
No, that's not a bad shout. But there's a caveat of there needs to be another division created for
her. For sure, because she's never going to beat Ioana Jędrzejczyk.
No, because John Jacek's a scary motherfucker.
Yeah.
Michael Venom Page, again, he's got the Mark Dia Casey problem of he's in the welterweight division, which is probably the only other most stacked division outside of the lightweight. And that's the nightmare for him. You're literally talking about throwing a shark in with other sharks. There's no way you can just... Although Conor did it. Featherweight was always considered one of the most stacked divisions. Clean that shit out.
Yeah, he did clean it up. And
then just cheat-moded the fucking lightweight division by nailing a champion. And be like, see ya.
Cheat code. He didn't even fight that. It was crazy. He just said, I want to fight a welterweight for 2 fights. Oh yeah, by the way, I want a title shot in Madison Square Garden on your biggest fight card of all time. Can I have it?
And then he did it. And then, Joe Rogan says, he's called out, Tyron Woodley, and Tyron Woodley's called him out. And he's like, let him do it. Let him do it.
Why not?
See what he says. See what happens. Let him fucking do it.
Right. What else we got?
How do I think John Jones will do as a heavyweight? I think John Jones at heavyweight is an excellent proposition, because I think there is something in the name heavyweight champion instead of light heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
And I think John Jones as the baddest guy in the baddest division with the most prestige is good for the UFC in the long run.
Yeah, 100%. And everyone knows that there's going to be a lot of reliance on him when he comes back as well, just given they've lost Conor, Ronda, the whole bank basically of stars that they have is gone.
My favourite KO. I think people are going to overlook Conor's because it's like seen as a bit kitsch to say Conor's knockout of Aldo was amazing, but that was so unexpected at such a high level.
Ridiculous.
It was unbelievable. But yes, MVP's KO of Cyborg. I mean, we were sat about this is obviously being the cage being here. We were sat maybe 10 feet that way. You sat with us, weren't you? It was me, you and Ben sat together. Yeah. So it sounded like someone had broke a cricket bat. And then there was a guy sat just off to my right in front of us who turned around and went, "Fuck me, he's got a fold in his head."
I thought he was joking.
It was a random thing to say.
He was joking. He's like, he's got a dent in his head. I didn't legit believe it. But anyway, so actually, there's a really cool video of just after that knockout. One of the Bellator staff ran around the side of the cage, getting all the reactions of all the celebs that were down there. I nicked it. I put it on my Facebook page. How many times am I going to plug my Facebook page?
Yeah, go and check out Jim's Facebook page. He's trying to get more followers. He's also on Twitter at MMA_Jim, and you can find him at the Metro, fucking everywhere for writing. Yeah, there you go.
And MMA latest as well.
And MMA latest.
Aldo chasing Conor rematch. Will it happen?
Not at 145.
I don't know. How do you sell that though?
Not at 145.
We saw the build up for 2 years, unfortunately, and then he got knocked out in 13 seconds, and it was just
there's no reason.
There's no reason.
McGregor's got all the aces in his hand on that one, and he can't better what he's done. So why does he go for it? Unless they offer him a fucking truckload of cash, which is any fight that they offer him is going to be a truckload of cash.
They're not. They're never going to do that because they need to make money fights, and like it's not a money fight. It doesn't fall under that category anymore.
No. Who does he fight when he comes back? I think that is going to depend upon who the lightweight champion is. And who the featherweight champion is.
Fucking Ferguson.
Tony Ferguson.
That would be absolutely amazing.
Either of those. Tony Ferguson and Conor's a great fight. I do like Tony Ferguson. I'm not as intrigued as I am for Khabib. And I should be, because Khabib's an undefeated wizard. But I think Tony Ferguson is ultimately better because it's going to be such a one-dimensional thing with Khabib. Yeah, it's going to be Khabib trying to take him down and Conor trying to not get took down.
And like, to be honest, I could see it being a super boring fight where Khabib like lies on him for 5 rounds, and everyone's like, Conor's not that great anymore. And like that's true, and like it's fair play to Khabib, but like it's not a great fight.
David in a comment saying Conor gasses after 2 rounds. I disagree. If you saw what he did to Max Holloway, there was no gas tank there at all.
Or Nate Diaz too. Yeah. Like everyone's like, oh yeah, he.
What Conor does is he expends a lot of energy going for KOs. So that's what he tries to do. And Chael Sonnen's got a great quote on KOs. If you go for the KO, you're not going to win a decision. If you go for a decision, you're never going to get a KO. And I think Conor comes out looking to fucking put people away.
Habib will kill McGregor. See, I don't kind of agree with that because I think there's a really clear victory path to victory for Habib. But I could also see him get knocked out as well because, I mean, Habib is getting lit up by Michael Johnson, and Michael Johnson's not that great at boxing.
No. Bushy in the comments, Woodley's asked for the big money fights, but he's arguably not looked great in his last 2 fights and arguably even lost both of those fights. I think that's a little bit harsh. He's come out with his hand raised at the end of it, and he's fought in Wonderboy, literally the other guy in the division that can match up with him. I thought it was going to be a more dominant victory than it ended up being. I think you could have scored it either way again for Woodley and Wonderboy. I really do.
It was one of the worst fights I think I've ever seen. Legit. Like I'll throw it out there. It was one of the worst fights. I've never seen 2 rounds begin like that. 9 strikes in the first
Remember,
one. Remember
Anderson Silva in Abu Dhabi against
for
Maya?
Sure. Maya. That was also awful, but this one was just because there were 2 guys in there that you thought, right, they're going to tear into each other. The first fight was epic. Let's get it on.
Nope.
And then you're just watching, and I'm sitting there just waiting to write, and the first strike was thrown. I mean,
you can tell who listens to the podcast, can't you? Join the comments. Calabib.
What would a young MMA fighter be better moving to the States or staying? Yeah, I mean, like you talk to any of the pros that like I talked to Mark Diakese a few weeks ago, and he was like, yeah, I was training in Yorkshire, Gym 17, I want to say, for like his whole career.
He's got one in like Wigan, I think, or somewhere around there.
Yeah, no, it's Gym 17. And then he went to American Top Team for the first time, and he just said the level there was so different. He told me a good story actually. So he went there first day wrestling practice. He didn't tell me who it was, but he was like one of the Russians there. I had to spar him, but it was just like grappling practice. And he said I got absolutely mullered. He's like, I was put on my back for 25 minutes. And the good thing is that Brad Pickett also talked to me about the story. And he was like, Mark didn't get pissed off, and he didn't like start swearing or anything like that. He didn't get like think, fuck it, jack this in, you know, it's boring, just getting put on my back. He was like, Mark was just obsessed with like learning,
I need to figure out
how I get off my back. And he said by the time that those two went in the cage again after like another 3 weeks, like Mark was fucking, his TDD was like a million times better. So there you go. There's a good Mark TKG story.
So yeah, I'm a big fan of Mark. I'm a big fan of
So
Mark.
am I. So
And that right hand fucking sleeps, motherfuckers.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
And like we said, his ground game's good for a UK fighter.
Yeah, no, what everyone forgets is right. He like all his highlight reels are filled with him like KOing Musa and obviously Timo Pacquiao. We just seen actually when you go back and watch his first few fights, he just used to take motherfuckers down and like swarm them.
Especially Bama types, yeah, definitely.
Like Jack McGann,
Yeah.
great example.
Yeah, and that was Jack was undefeated prior to that
Jack
as well.
fights this weekend. Good luck, Jack.
Yeah, and Jack, we need to have a talk because like, why is every fucking celebrity like all up all over you? What's going on there, man?
He's fighting over in Russia, right? A brand called Fight Nights, and basically the Russians bring Jack in. No offense, Jack. To basically, you know, as a bit of meat that they can take down, sit on for 3 rounds, and then get a decision.
Not seeing
But
Jack's
Jack
fucking videos.
has been fucking knocking these guys out for fun, and he's now a massive celebrity over in like Russia. Everyone loves to see him fight because they know that they're either going to see one thing.
I think he still fights with Wolfslayer on his shots, even though I don't think
no, he
Wolfslayer's
does.
been a thing.
I don't think they even
for
exist.
fucking long old time. Yeah,
He's a lad, Jack, and best of luck to him. He fights this Saturday against Levan Makshvili, who's actually, because this is interesting, normally they just pair him up against Russians. Now he's such a big star there, they're like, fuck it, let's
Feed
give
him some shit.
Yeah, let's feed him some fucking American, like, you know, ex-UFC guy, Makshvili. He should win.
Vanderlei versus Chael. Now, I like Bellator in some aspects, but in some aspects, I can see why they're doing it because it brings numbers, and it's going to bring numbers. People are going to tune in for Sonnen and Vanderlei because that's Sonnen and Vanderlei. And the press conference was unbelievable. You've got Fedor sitting next to Chael Sonnen, and Chael Sonnen is like, this guy's so lucky because he gets to hold the curtain for me as I'm walking out. And you're like, whoa.
What the fuck?
Whoa, that's Fedor, mate.
Fedor's just sitting there, like, eating this. And all I'm saying about this fight is that it's going to be one more in the win column, one more for the highlight reel,
one
and
more
one
for the
more
bad guy.
for the bad guy. Mate,
Chael
like,
Sonnen.
that 30 seconds just sold the whole... Like, forget the rest of the press conference. That 30 seconds just sold the whole thing. NYC, here we come, Bellator. Like, it's amazing just watching Bellator.
Yeah, you're trying to go, aren't you?
Oh, 100%. Like, let's make no bones about it. I'll be
When
there.
is Stipe fighting? Next... No, not next week. Next
Stipe
month.
is
It's
fighting
next month in
next
Texas.
month. He's fighting
Texas.
UFC 211 against
211.
Junior Dos Santos. Great fight that. Junior Dos Santos won the first one.
Both of them just done an interview for us on MMA.
Yeah,
Latest. So
they
head
did,
over to
actually.
our
On MMA
MMA latest YouTube channel and go and check out the interviews that we've done with them over there.
Do you reckon a Condit will fight again? Great question. I know some things about Condit.
Just seen him sleep some fucker in training last week. I saw that on Instagram,
Yeah.
I think.
I mean, I know a few things about Condit. I don't think he's going to have a lot of difficulty, I think, getting past the medical. Fact.
Really?
Fact.
Illness-wise?
Not illness-wise, just, you know, wear and tear, let's say.
Right.
Wear and tear in the fight game. It's going to be, you know, it's going to be difficult for him to come back. I'd never bet against him.
Vanderlei sounds like a sperm whale.
He does.
Vanderlei's had a lot of punches in the head.
Vanderlei.
In fact, actually, Vanderlei, shooter box. I mean, attitudes are changing, and you also... Was it... Oh, man, I can't remember the name of the gym. There's a gym a lot of fighters came out of in, like, the Midwest, and it was... Motherfucker.
Nova Unya.
No, in the States, I can't remember the motherfucking name.
Jack Smoker John.
It was there on the tip of my tongue then before you said that. Fuck. I can't remember the name of
Okay.
the
Can't
ex-UFC fighter that used to run it anyway, and he was just a fucking evil dude. And basically, was it Rain? Was it Rain? It was where Brendan Schaub and Cowan came through. Who was the fucking... Who was the fighter that was in charge of them? Old school UFC fight. One of the early ones. I can't remember his motherfucking name. I'm going to forget it anyway.
You've forgotten it. Come on, move on.
Forgotten her name. I don't know what I was talking about. But yeah, they basically said shooter box at a net anyway was like every Friday. It wasn't sparring. It was you're having a fucking fight every single time.
Yeah.
Just like... no
King's
fucking-
MMA.
No.
King's MMA, they also do have fucking big scraps
Yeah.
on a Friday. That's naughty.
There's a lot of gyms in the UK that used to do it as well, where they just fucking go completely bonkers and just fucking waylay each other.
Eric Bally versus Lukaku. What are we talking here? Are we talking in a fucking, like, what, a heading duel or
I
an
think you
actual
talk about
MMA
MMA
fight?
fighters. I'm sure Wes Brown's a black belt in judo, so that's interesting.
Oh, shit.
So I wouldn't mind
Don't
seeing
mess
Wes
with the
Brown
Browns, though.
up against
Wes
Zlatan.
Brown was fucking hard, though. Like, some of the tackles he used to put in were just monsters.
Yeah, and Zlatan's got a black belt in Taekwondo at
does.
6'5".
Yeah, I mean,
with that flexibility.
Oh my god,
it's terrifying.
The UK press have already played down that line of like, yeah, Ibra wants a fucking like MMA fight or some shit. I think that was it. He wants to fight Danny Rose, not Danny Rose, fucking Danny Roberts, not Danny Rose.
Okay.
Fucking hell. Thoughts on Crocott versus Silverstone? And yeah, it was fun. Oh, you guys, interesting. Another super fight between Mighty Mouse. Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's all he's got left now.
That's the only thing Mighty Mouse has got. I mean,
They're just chucking him like title defences to
him
rack
an
him up, get the record.
The
and
guy
then
that won the Ultimate Fighter,
Tim Elliott,
give him a really fucking good
He
fight.
did, he
Probably one of the
fucking
best fights he's had in
chinned
a
him. He
long
chinned
fucking
him.
time, actually, as well.
put him down.
When will we see the Diaz brothers? When someone coughs up a load of cash, I think they're
Yeah.
only interested in that.
And do you know
boatload
what?
of dough.
I just wouldn't be surprised if we never see them again. I wouldn't be. I think we will. We will, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Rooney can box as well. He can, supposedly.
Yeah, although I did see, everyone's seen that video of him getting knocked out by, who was it?
Phil Bardsley.
Phil Bardsley.
So unless
that's
Phil
it.
Bardsley's a low-key
Yeah.
fucking hands merchant. Grudge. That was it. Now, what was the name of the motherfucker that used to... just a motherfucking super old-school fighter. He was in IFL temporarily. He was in the early UFC. There's a brilliant bit about him in, I think it's Sam Sheridan's book. I swear, I'm going to wake up at 3 a.m. and just shout the motherfucker's
shout this name out, aren't
It's
you?
not Jens Pulver.
I was too busy tweeting everyone that we're live. Bebe versus Jemba Jemba. Again, what are we talking about? Are we talking about a 50-50 tackle or are we talking like an MMA fight? Because Bebe was the man. He was a fucking god.
E2XB says any good wrestling gyms in the Northwest, that's where you're going to find the good wrestling gyms. Wherever Dia Casey goes, there's a wrestling place that he goes, and I can't remember the name of it, somewhere in Wigan is good. You've got the Snake Pit in Wigan, which is a catch wrestling place, which obviously is not quite freestyle wrestling, but if you're in Manchester, get yourself to the Y, get shouted at by a load of Iranians, and go and get the best wrestling that you're going to find in the UK. That's where Brendan goes. We see a lot of the guys from what's it called? Powerhouse Gym is his place.
Powerhouse.
That's where you want to be going anyway. There's some really good wrestling in the Northwest. It's not going to be as good as what you're going to get over in the States. Stockport wrestling is pretty good as well. That's where I used to go to. That's more catch based. But you used to have guys coming over from America just double legging you through walls all day long because you just don't know what the fuck you're doing with it.
There must be some Manx watching this. What do they think about Brendan Lockney? What do you think about Brendan Lockney?
I really like Brendan.
I think Brendan's a fucking Manx.
Brendan was in my corner for my fight.
Absolutely amazing.
I like his stand-up. He's actually got really, really, really good wrestling. It wasn't Jens Pulver. That was the name that comes to my head, but I can't fucking think who it is. He's got really good wrestling, and I was a bit disappointed on The Ultimate Fighter when he was fighting against Wilkinson.
Mate, he
that
was
he didn't
young.
want to go down.
He was so
for him.
young. Like,
But-
he barely had like what 5 fights.
I think
and
he
he's
was-
fighting
he
Norman
was
Park.
7.
He's like
Yeah.
21-2.
Yeah.
It's nuts, and it was nuts. And he gave Norman a great fight, but now it's like, I honestly,
Striking's on another level. He's been going over to Tiger
another
Mai
level.
Tai and fucking
Ridiculous.
rassing it up over there. He's got Kane who he can train with on a regular basis, and that's definitely a case of iron sharpens iron with those two. I'd love to see some of the gym wars that I know that they're having.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think his ground games, like Brendan, you will see it. Well, he's actually, I think he competed in the Great Britain Wrestling Championships just in pure freestyle wrestling. Yeah, I mean, he's a well-rounded MMA fighter. That is literally what MMA is all about. He does his kickboxing, does his ground game. Don't know how good his jits is, but he was a catch wrestler. He's trained with Ian Bromley, really good fucking catch wrestler, and all that sort of stuff. Was MMA handy in the army? I didn't do it till I left.
Are these two twins? Well, what can I say? We're both pretty beautiful.
There's
but I
about
don't think
£100
we're quite
difference, don't worry about it.
Was MMA handy in the army?
I didn't do it until I left.
Oh, for
I
fuck's sake,
started
Howson.
watching it while I was
You
in
only
Afghanistan.
became hard when you left the army, for fuck's sake. No wonder we've got a
Didn't,
bunch of fucking softies out there.
Do you know why I started MMA? Actually, this is a fucking interesting story, right? I don't know how many of you realise how much I hate the cold, right? I don't think
Fucking
I
hate the
can
cold.
really put into words how much I hate the cold. So, I actually volunteered to go to Iraq because I was fucked off of how cold it was on camp at the time.
Yeah.
And a gaffer phoned and goes, I need 7 names to go to Iraq. I was like, right, I'm putting my fucking self down. I was like, how warm is it? And there's like 30 odd. I was like, that'll fucking do.
It's not a
Put
fucking
me
holiday,
fucking
it's
down.
Iraq.
It's hot, mate. I'll deal with the rockets.
Mate, I'll pay
Just
you a
get me
few
somewhere
$100 to
fucking
go to,
hot.
like Canary Highlands or something. What the fuck?
So I volunteered to go to Iraq because of the cold. Now, when I left the army, I went and played rugby for Mancunians for a little bit, and then I was debating what to do in the winter. And I was like, I'd been watching MMA since the first time I went to Afghanistan, summer 2006.
Right.
And I was like, let me just fucking see if I can do this round here. So I did a quick Google and found a gym, and I started, as soon as the rugby season ended, I just started doing MMA. My idea was, I'm just going to do this till like March, and then I'll bin it, and I'll play rugby again.
To like just benefit your rugby, right?
And then all I ended up doing was I put a full year's worth of training in, like 4 hours a night for 12 months, building up to having a single amateur fight.
Yeah.
And then I had that amateur fight, and I sort of I broke both my hands, and I had to have a bit of time off work because of that. And I was like, do you know what? This probably isn't productive. Am I going to go pro? I'm like, when was this? 7 years ago. So I was 26. I'm like, I'm never going to be good enough to go pro at the age that I'm at. Maybe I keep doing it, which is what I've done. I keep doing it for the fact I enjoy it, and it's something to just fucking do
Keeps
as a
you
hobby.
Fit.
I can't run.
You know a bunch of hard blokes if you ever run into trouble.
Yeah.
It's pretty fucking good, right?
I can't run because of the compartment syndrome I've got in my calves. So playing rugby and playing football's off the cards, but getting punched in the fucking face in a warm gym actually is not that fucking bad an idea. So
No,
that's
not.
literally how I ended up starting doing MMA. And pretty much, I've had big gaps off where I've not trained, but I've literally really not really stopped doing it. And I ended up stopping rugby because of the compartment syndrome. I couldn't fucking run. So
Well,
that was that.
I've just racked up my 6th amateur belt, so should be turning pro soon. I'll be in the UFC. Anyway, how do you feel about the over the top sponsorship before the Reebok deal came in? Over the top.
I don't think it was over the top.
No, it was
I
never
think it was
over
fine.
the
I
top,
think
man. It was
free
these
market.
guys getting bank, and I'm like, they should
Free market, yeah.
Let's not look. This
Mighty
is no
Mouse.
joke. This is real. This is a fucking cage. These guys are fighting.
This one's a bit better as well.
This one's real fucking better.
Mighty Mouse is sponsored by Xbox, and he
Yeah,
can
and
blast
they
his
just ruined
Twitch
it.
stuff, and that's all sort of
The
like.
kid who beat the Hong Kong guy in UFC the other month is a monster. 140 division. Bloody hell! I've got no idea what you're talking about. No, sorry, man. Rockhold versus Jacare 2 or Rockhold versus Bisping 3. I don't know.
Jacare needs a.
I really want to see both fights. 'Cause I just want to see Bisping lose the belt and actually get this middleweight move.
You don't think he's going to
do?
do it, but I think fucking GSP's going to. Is it for the title? Is GSP fighting for the title?
It's middleweight title.
GSP's just twisting his fucking head off. Definitely.
Yeah.
Is Conor the best boxer in the UFC? Probably not, actually. I think people think that Nate's boxing's better than him. Maybe. I think
do.
overall striking, I think Conor's better because Nate doesn't use kicks and Conor's kicks are phenomenal.
let's face it. Like Conor's got a much bigger arsenal.
Yeah.
Like if it was a legit boxing fight, I would probably put my money on Nate.
I think Garbrandt's straight boxing is very, very fucking good. I think there's a lot of good pure boxers. I wonder how Silva would do in just a pure boxing.
I don't know. Again, he's a guy that threatens with the kicks, right?
Yeah.
And like just his whole game.
Yeah.
Like, it's so different. Like people compare boxing and mixed martial arts. It's such a different sport.
I mean, I do watch boxing. I got a real good friend who's over in Mexico trying to become a world champion, lad from the UK, and that mentality alone tells me that he's probably going to end up being.
One guy wrote a minute ago.
Masvidal's not a
Did
bad
you see
shout.
the Corolla Linares 2
Nope.
fight the other day?
Didn't watch it.
Fucking great fight. He asked us our opinions on it, so I'll tell you my opinion. Yeah, it was a great fight. I mean, Anthony Corolla didn't like. You could tell from the first few rounds he wasn't
Corolla.
going to win. I always say Corolla. Corolla is in the car.
There's a lot of United fans do both.
Corolla.
United and
Corolla.
Corolla. But that's because Corolla is a match-going United fan. He goes home and away with United, so I
Yeah.
think he's bought a lot of love that way by United
But
fans.
I mean, anyway, he was outclassed the first few rounds. Got knocked. I think he got put on his ass in like the 6th or something like that. Got off of the canvas and then fucking looked strong. The stronger fight for the next 2 rounds. So, and then his corner when he'd obviously lost on the cards before the 12th round. His corner are like, no, Anthony, don't go out. He fucking stood up for Manchester, man. He went out there and said, "Fuck
he is
it,
fucking loved over
I'm gonna go out there and fucking survive another 3-minute beatdown for every motherfucker who came to the stadium in the Manchester Arena." And that's,
Fair fucks to him.
yeah.
George in the comments says Brock Lesnar is a fraud? I don't think so.
No, mate, I dare to go say that to him.
Brock Lesnar could have been one of the all-time best, but I think mentality-wise, he was already too rich from WWE, and I think
Yeah.
the lure of that cash for not getting punched in the face was better than the lure of the respect of getting punched in the face. I mean, the guy that beat Shane Carwin and then he got diverticulitis. I think without diverticulitis, Overeem doesn't go down that way. No way. And then you don't know on the other side.
The whole game's like the wild, wild west, isn't it? Like, let's face it, we could go back through history and pretty much count out like every other fight where someone's on roids.
Yeah.
Like, so let's just not bother. Let's just go. So that JJ guy was talking about the Hong Kong fight. It was Cub Swanson versus Duho Choi. That fight was amazing. That was like legit one of the best fights I've ever seen. Cub Swanson versus Artem Lomov is a bigger mismatch than Conor versus Floyd. No, it's not. No, it's not.
It's not, but
it's not.
It's not one that
I would
Artem
highly
to
fancy Cub to win, but Artem's one of those fighters, man.
He's a tough little motherfucker.
He's tough and he'll hang in there, but he's also got knockout power as well. So,
I can't read your name. That's crazy. But do I think gymnastics and ballet would be a foundation, great asset before learning martial arts, develop core coordination as well as strength and flexibility? Maybe.
Why not? Anything like that helps. Like, people tell me they practice yoga and like Ryan Giggs is like yoga master, right? And who would have thought that fucking like yoga would have helped him
it shows you the effectiveness of good core strength.
Nimble.
There's a study that the Bundesliga's just done where they've shown that let me get this right. The under-21 team from 10 years ago, I think this is how it went down. They looked at those who came into the under-21s team and then what percentage of those who had done cross-training up until 12, where they may have done that sport, that sport, that sport, that sport, and football, versus those that had just done football. And a higher percentage of those that had done cross sports before they were 12 went on and had better careers from beyond the 21 level afterwards. Is that definitive? No. I think you have to take every single case on its thing.
It's interesting for sure.
I think it is interesting, yeah. I think that, I think kids should go and try everything. Like, I took Jaden to rugby once. It was the funniest thing you've ever seen in your life because he'd been so ingrained in playing football, he was getting ahead of the ball in space. In rugby, think about it.
Mate, I was so bad at that as well. I used to always throw the ball forward. I would never be onside to actually receive the ball. I was like the worst rugby. Not only fucking about...
It just made me laugh. I couldn't even get mad at the guy.
Not only about 85 pounds, I couldn't actually fucking be onside for most of the time anyway. But anyway. Thoughts on Dylan Dennis. So Dylan Dennis is Conor McGregor's teammate, not coach, for jiu-jitsu.
Right.
And he's cashing in on the Conor effect, isn't he? He's got a bit of osmosis from Conor, just a bit of nice. He's gonna get paid in Bellator. He's a bit cocky, but aren't they all? Like, everyone sees how Conor's made his money, and that's being a brash bastard.
But that works for him, and that's his thing. I think that's got to just be his.
Yeah, but people say this about James Gallagher, right? We all know James Gallagher. Everyone hates. Not many people like James Gallagher. That's a fact. A lot of people think he's a cocky and he hasn't proven himself or whatever. But you've got to remember, this is a kid who's been growing up watching Conor McGregor in his gym go from a bum 4 years ago, literally a guy that wasn't even picking up his welfare. He was too lazy to pick up his welfare. And now he's going to be in the first ever $1 billion fight.
Yeah. So
why would you not copy that guy?
Yeah, I can imagine you're very impressionable at 15, 16, seeing that.
Exactly, he's 20 years old.
Dog Bounty in the comments says, what happened to the Gracies? Couldn't evolve. Yeah, I think that's probably the top and bottom of it. They're married to jiu-jitsu, and jiu-jitsu is married to them. And can you imagine saying, I'm going to sack off jiu-jitsu training today, Dad, and I'm going to go...
I'm going to go do some striking.
You get choked out within an inch of your life straight away. Cron Gracie's doing all right, but he's winning by submission all the time. It'd be nice if Cron Gracie came out. But it'd be nice if Cron Gracie went and spent 6 months at...
he
Tiger
trains with the Diaz brothers a lot. Surely and he looked pretty good in his last Risen fight. So, do you think Manuel has left it too late for it? He's 38 now. So, look, he's either going to get a title shot by the end of this year, but he's going to have to get lucky because there's all these situations with John Jones, DC, Anthony Johnson, even Gustafsson's going to be in the mix by the time he's beaten Teixeira. So there's a good 4 guys that could be in the title mix well ahead of him. Circumstances could play out.
He is old, but ultimately, look at Randy Couture. Look at Dan Anderson. You're not done until you're done.
Bisping as well, man.
Yeah, you're not done.
Bisping's AJ or Klitschko. That's a good fight. I can't wait to see that. 90,000 people in Wembley. Do you know
AJ looks like the heavyweight champion of the world's supposed to fucking look like as well, innit?
Yeah.
What a terrifying fucking
just
freak of
looks like
nature
it.
he
He
is.
just-
Yeah. Jesus
I saw his
Christ.
Instagram the other day. It was his breakfast. It was like pretty much like a weekly shot for us. It's fucking monster.
Do fighters have to be held to have held the belt to be considered a UFC legend? In my opinion,
Name one.
name one that isn't.
Yeah.
I struggle without thinking.
Yeah.
Actually.
So
So yeah, maybe.
struggling. Yeah. No,
maybe.
I think you're bang on there. Like I can't think of a guy that has missed the part. Like you could have said like Michael Bisping was like the guy that hadn't won a belt. And
That was probably because he
legend.
comes from a one nation side of things. Is it?
Yeah,
Yeah, because he was
like, he's
he
been
was
involved in
a
great
flag
fights,
bearer for UK
memorable
MMA for
like the
years.
most memorable moments of UFC history. It would have been Bisping, but there you go.
Kron style works well in Rising, where he can trap his opponent in a corner. It would be a lot tougher for him in a cage. He's also fighting at, is it 155 he's fighting at?
Yeah.
See, he's not well rounded enough to even think about Uriah Faber. That's not a bad shout.
Yes, well, love that. I love that. That's good.
I think he's also in a weight division where if you're not well rounded, you're getting fucking found out.
Yeah,
Massively.
everyone's so well rounded at 155.
Like, if you throw him up against Mark Diakese, who's winning that? I don't even have to ask you, right? So,
or like
if he's
it
not
could
that
even
good,
play out is that Kron could probably like lie on him for about 2 rounds, and then Mark would spark him out in the third, sort of thing. Like,
but I said Mark's takedown defense is getting a lot better.
Yeah.
It's a lot improved. He's going to obviously keep going at the top team, so that's not going to change. And jiu-jitsu fighters aren't exactly known for a fucking power takedown, so he's going to look clinch and trip. I think Diakese can fucking evade that.
Yeah.
I think his footwork's good, and if he comes in close, he's going to get fucking touched with a bit of leather.
do we give Artem a chance against Cub Swanson? 100% we do. As I said earlier,
Everyone
man,
has
he's
got a chance when they get in
Yeah, he's
there.
got a puncher's chance, but there's also the fact that Cub Swanson's an old guy, man, and he's just been through hell with Doo-Ho Choi. Like, that was a fucking, like, that took so many years off his fighting career.
Yeah.
And now he's getting back in the cage, and he's going to fight a guy that has got big power. So, good
Right.
luck to him.
One last thing. Oh, thoughts on Kimbo Slice? Right, can we
Oh,
just clear
no.
something up, actually? Because I threw out on Twitter the day Kimbo passed away. Me and Jim was actually... In fact, Jim, you just fucking say it.
What?
We was fucking going to lunch with the guy for the Bellator
Oh
run.
shit, we were going to fucking lunch with Kimbo
And I said,
Slice, and he fucking
I said
died.
that, and everyone was like, "You're talking shit." Was we
No,
talking shit?
Legit,
No, we was going.
100% fact. Me and Stephen were going to dinner with Kimbo.
And
fucking
MVP and Kimbo's son, I think, bizarrely. And
Yeah.
who else? There was somebody else on there.
Slice. Oh,
Coca, MVP, Kimbo and his son, and
I can't remember now. Oh, it was just like the British heavyweight. I can't remember what his name is. He's not very good.
so there you go. So that was I mean,
Fact, we were going for lunch with Kimbo. We had a dinner date with Kimbo, and he fucking died on us.
the things people do to get out of fucking dinner with us. I don't think
All
we were
jokes
that bad.
aside, proper legend. Man. Like you talk to anyone in MMA, and they will tell you that, like, you know,
Nice guy, apparently.
Nice
by all
guy.
things. Yeah, I was
And
gutted
like-
I didn't get the opportunity.
the
so
misconception is he's like the street fighting king of the world or whatever. But he actually like gave guys like a kind of boundaries in terms. He gave them a kind of, you know, this wasn't just a fucking street fight where everyone turns up and it all gets a bit
Well, it was
crazy.
almost like an
There were
organised sport.
rules.
Like,
It was like respect between the fighters. I don't really condone it because it's unregulated fighting, but still, like, it was kind of regulated, unregulated fighting. If you get.
right, I think that'll do us to wrap up there. But please come and check us out on the Patreon page. We got one guy that has donated $20 in there. What an absolute legend! You can donate $1.
You're gonna pay me back later,
$5, yeah, sound yeah. I'll fucking. You can donate $1 or $5, and if you donate 20, or the other category is 50, you're gonna get some signed original artwork, or you're gonna get some original artwork. So go and check it out. See what the goals are on there. The first goal is $50. We're 40% of the way there. The next one's gonna be $250, and for that, me and Ben will do some live streaming. And then the next one is guests. And trust me, we have got some fucking class guests lined up. But it's on you guys to help get it there. So thank you guys for joining us. Go follow Jim. Make sure you're following MMA Latest if you're into MMA. If you've got any questions about anything like that, stick us in the comments, and me and Jim will answer them tomorrow in between the 33 fucking fights that we've got to cover tomorrow. But yeah, that's the one. So thank you to Jim. Thank you to you motherfuckers for joining us. And we'll be back probably next Thursday, I think, because we've not got a match next Thursday, but then it's probably going to be Wednesdays most of April because of the fucking schedule that we've got, which is off the chart with United Games. So anyway, thank you for watching us. See you in a bit.
See you later.